Stop chasing her. Start doing this instead. One of the biggest mistakes men make in dating is very simple, but most of them never realize it. The moment a woman starts pulling away, they panic. They start texting more. They start explaining more. They start trying harder. They start overthinking everything. And they start checking their phone constantly, waiting for replies. And in their mind, they believe something very simple. If I just do more, she will come back. But in real life, it usually works the opposite way. The more they chase, the more she pulls away. The conversation becomes heavier. The energy becomes uncomfortable. And attraction slowly starts dropping without them even noticing it. From a man's point of view, he feels like he is fixing things. He feels like he is trying to save the connection. But from her side, it feels like pressure. And pressure kills attraction faster than anything else. So in this video, I'm going to break everything down in very simple language so you can understand what is really happening in situations like this and, more importantly, what you should do instead. Not games, not manipulation, not fake behavior, just emotional control and understanding how attraction actually works in real life. 1. What chasing really means. Most men think chasing only means texting too much, but chasing is deeper than that. Chasing is emotional behavior. It is when you feel uneasy when she is not replying. It is when you need constant attention to feel okay. It is when you start panicking the moment her energy changes. It is when you feel like you must fix everything immediately or you will lose her. Chasing is not about actions only. It is about emotional dependence. For example, a woman replies slower than usual. A calm man simply thinks she is probably busy or doing something else. He continues his day without stress. But a chasing man immediately feels something is wrong. He starts thinking deeply. Maybe she is losing interest. Maybe she is talking to someone else. Maybe he did something wrong. And because of that fear, he starts texting more. He sends messages like, "Are you okay? Did I do something wrong? Why are you not replying?" He thinks he is solving a problem, but in reality, he is reacting emotionally instead of staying grounded. And that is the beginning of chasing. 2. Why men start chasing. Most men do not chase because they are weak or foolish. They chase because they become emotionally attached too quickly. At the beginning, everything feels smooth. The conversations are good. The replies are fast. The attention feels mutual. And the man starts getting comfortable emotionally. But then something changes. The replies slow down. The energy feels different. She becomes less active or less expressive. And suddenly the man feels a shift. That emotional shift creates anxiety. Instead of observing and staying calm, he reacts. But the truth is, people do not stay the same every day. Everyone has different moods. Everyone has busy days. Everyone gets distracted. Everyone goes through emotional ups and downs. But chasing turns normal human behavior into a personal crisis. 3. What happens when you chase? When you chase, the emotional balance changes completely. At first, the connection feels natural. Both sides are relaxed. There is no pressure. But once you start chasing, the energy shifts from connection to pressure. From her side, she starts feeling like she is being watched or monitored emotionally. She feels pressure to respond in a certain way. She feels like she cannot breathe freely in the conversation anymore. And when people feel pressure, they naturally pull back. Not because they hate you, not because they lost all interest, but because pressure removes comfort. So the cycle begins. You chase. She pulls away. You chase more. She pulls away even more. And now the situation becomes worse without either side fully understanding why. 4. What confident men do differently. Confident men behave very differently in the same situation. When energy changes, they do not panic. They do not rush to fix everything immediately. They do not try to force conversation or force emotional closeness. Instead, they slow down. They reply normally. They stay calm. They continue their life. And they allow space to exist. This is not because they do not care. It is because they understand something very important. Attraction does not survive pressure. So instead of increasing pressure, they reduce it. And that simple behavior change makes a huge difference in how the situation develops. 5. The biggest mistake men make. The biggest mistake is believing that every emotional change needs immediate action. When a woman becomes quiet, many men think they must fix it immediately. They believe if they do not act fast, they will lose her completely. But that thinking creates panic, and panic leads to chasing, and chasing leads to pressure, and pressure leads to distance. So instead of solving the problem, they accidentally make it worse. 6. Real-life example. Let's imagine two men in the same situation. A woman who has been talking normally suddenly becomes a little distant. The first man immediately panics. He starts texting more. He asks what is wrong. He tries to fix everything. He overthinks every message. He becomes emotionally reactive. From her side, she feels pressure. She feels like she needs to explain herself. She feels like the situation is heavy. And slowly she pulls away more. Now the second man reacts differently. He notices the change, but he does not panic. He replies normally. He does not force conversation. He continues his life and stays calm. From her side, there is no pressure. The interaction still feels light. And in many cases, she naturally comes back to normal energy because nothing is being forced. Same situation, two different outcomes. The only difference is emotional control. 7. Why doing less sometimes works better. Most men believe attraction grows through effort. More texting, more attention, more communication. But in reality, too much effort too early creates pressure. Sometimes doing less is more powerful. When you do less, you remove pressure. When pressure is removed, space appears. And in that space, attraction can breathe again. People do not always need more intensity. Sometimes they need room to miss you. 8. Stop taking everything personally. One of the worst habits men develop is taking every small change personally. If she replies slower, they think something is wrong. If she sounds different, they think she lost interest. If she is busy, they think they're being replaced. But not everything is about you. People have lives. People have stress. People have moods. People have distractions. Chasing turns normal life behavior into emotional fear. A strong mindset is understanding that not every change requires a reaction. 9. Why focusing on your life changes everything. When a man is chasing, his whole world becomes centered around one person. Every thought is about her replies, her behavior, her attention, her mood. But when he stops chasing, something important happens. His focus goes back to his own life. His goals, his work, his growth, his routine, and this changes his emotional energy completely. Because now he is no longer emotionally dependent on one person's behavior. And that independence naturally creates stability. 10. Emotional space is important. Attraction grows in space. Not pressure, not forcing, not chasing. Space allows emotions to settle. It allows curiosity to build. It allows both people to reset mentally. But chasing destroys that space completely. When everything is forced, nothing feels natural anymore. 11. Stop trying to fix everything immediately. You're not responsible for fixing every emotional shift in a situation. Sometimes people just need space. Sometimes they're busy. Sometimes they're mentally occupied. Forcing emotional clarity in those moments usually makes things worse. 12. What real strength looks like. Real strength is not chasing harder. Real strength is staying calm when things change. It is not panicking. It is not reacting emotionally. It is controlling your energy. It is respecting yourself. It is not forcing attention. That is what creates respect and attraction naturally. At the end of the day, chasing usually comes from fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of being ignored. Fear of not being enough. But fear creates emotional mistakes. And those mistakes usually push people away instead of bringing them closer. The truth is very simple. People do not lose attraction because you care. They lose attraction because of pressure. And chasing creates pressure. So instead of trying harder, the better approach is to slow down. Focus on your life. Give space. Let things breathe. Because when you stop chasing, you don't just change your behavior. You change your entire energy. And that is what changes everything. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and follow for more.